This is the area immediately below where I'm going to weld in a mounting plate for the roll cage, and you can see it's covered in underseal, so that would all just burn off. There was actually a different type of cage fitted to this years ago, I think just for like cosmetically, and it was just, there's 3 holes drilled here. So again, I'm not ruining a perfect canvas here, drilling this car to fit a roll cage to it. I think I'll have to remove this clip. That's where the fuel line and brake line for this side were running. I think I'll take off all those clips because they're just going to be a muck and damp magnet. And yeah, I'll just get on with cleaning this off.
Well, the underseal certainly doesn't chip off the same way as the soundproofing does from the interior. I'll have to remove these clips and use some power tools on this. That's where the plates for the front legs of the cage will come to the floor. It would be tidier to do this with the drill, but in order to drill these out you need to expose the spot welds and with the wire wheel, and I think with the tabs long there's a chance that that would snag, so worth removing these while I have the cutting disc on the grinder already. Doing all the tabs on one side first with one grip on the grinder and then changing to go back along the other side of them. Now I can start wire wheeling the floor and cleaning off the area where my plates are going to go. I can also clean down the base of those clips that still remains so that I can see where to remove the spot welds to tidy them up completely. I'm using a straight haired brush now instead of the twisted one I was using a few minutes ago. This clears a bigger area at once. I think maybe if you guys weren't watching, I'd probably just lash the plate back onto this, but you're making me do this tidier and that's going to mean I have a nicer car to keep. It does mean this project's going to take a long time. I have actually prepared cars with a group of friends in a weekend. That's certainly not going to be the case with this project. Moving on to do the area below the A-pillar. I'm using the remains of the twisted wire cup brush to fit in there nicely. Swept up a load of the debris I've removed so that I'm not rolling around in the dirt. Using a flap wheel now on the grinder to clean up the remains of the clip. That's quite satisfying to remove that. Moving on to do the same thing then at the front. Getting more efficient as I move along. Of course I have the same 2 locations to do on the left hand side of the car. A little tidy up with the wire brush and that's looking pretty tidy. So the cage in position, I'm able to mark out where I need to build up my reinforcement. My plates are going to extend down onto the floor as per the FIA drawings in Appendix K, which I'll go into in more detail at a later stage. It's a little bit simpler with the main hoop as it goes down to the floor on this cage, but it will have a vertical extension up the sill for strength. So for now I'm just cleaning off the areas that are below the cage, and then later on when the cage is done I'll do a whole phase of preparing the floor for paint when I do the interior, and that'll be with the cage out. I'm going to disconnect the front legs now from the rear hoop so that I can move the cage around and get at the areas below the feet of the bars. It's going to be in and out a number of times in this process, and before it goes back in the final time I'll give it a clean down and repaint it. So with those disconnected I can slide those back and get on with cleaning back the area where they will fit. swapping between different wire wheels to get in at different areas. The backstays connect onto the wheel arch. And I've got a little bit of a ridge in the middle of that, so I'm actually going to beat that out to get a relatively flat area to mount my plates. It should actually pull completely flat in the end when it's all sandwiched together. You can see I actually have one hole drilled here already for one of the bolts in the backstay, and that was because I trial fitted the cage when I was launching this project, and just put that in to keep it in place. I did all the same work over here on the left hand side, and that's my floor, sill and wheel arch ready for roll cage plates.